Well, La Republic the Cameroon government has kept its promise to increase in fuel prices. Well, it's a move that has further exacerbated the already dire economic situation for the citizens. In a release on the 2nd of February, the colonial government announced that the cost of petrol will surge from 730 francs CFA to 840 francs CFA starting from February 3rd, 2024. This surge marks an absolute increase of 110 francs CFA in the price of petrol and a relative increase of 15%. This decision comes just a month after the President Paul Biya hinted at discontinuing fuel subsidies during his end-of-year speech on the 31st of December 2023. Fuel subsidies reportedly cost La Republic du Cameroon approximately 640 billion francs CFA in 2023, down from over 1,000 francs CFA, 1,000 billion francs CFA, which is approximately $1.7 billion in 2022. Subsequently, the Secretary General of the Colonial Prime Minister's Office, Seraphine Magloire Fouda, asserted that the recent measure was aimed to address growing budgetary constraints on the national budgets.
However, the move adds to the challenges faced by ordinary Cameroonians as the prices of fuel, cooking oil, with building materials and other essential commodities have been steadily rising since the outbreak of the Ukraine war in 2022. By the end of September 2023, La République du Cameroun already experienced an annual average inflation rate of 7.8%. The National Institute of Statistics attributed this increase to rising food prices and transport costs, this inflation rates reaching 12.8% and 11.5% respectively. The fuel price hike is expected to trigger a cascade effect, leading to increased transportation fares and consequently higher prices for basic commodities. This development has prompted concerns among citizens, with the colonial government anticipating potential strikes and protests.
All right, let's head to the frustration amongst the Cameroons. Cameroonians have expressed their frustration and helplessness in the face of these measures, with sentiments of disappointment and disillusionment evident in their reaction. Com Kizito Ga emphasized the enduring struggles of many citizens and the resilience of those who cling to the hope for a better future. According to him, he said, some of us have been struggling since the existence of these governments, as long as the poor who cannot afford food for his family still live with hope that things will one day change for the better. Then he's brave enough to say he's a man.
Oh well, Asibo Desmond as well voiced a sense of disenchantment, stating that La République du Cameroun is no longer interesting and suggesting that people are merely enduring rather their circumstances due to being born into them. Tewu Valentine lamented the colonial government's decision, branding it as a shameful act. Says it is a shame on the colonial government that instead of pitying the masses, they have once again decided to met their anger on the masses.
Well, report says that the Amazonian region is collapsing as a result of the country's 7-year war and counting. Officials says the ongoing fighting has made tax revenues in the Amazonian region drop from $800 annually to just $1,000 in the year 2023. The lack of governmental funds has been a devastating effect on the region. Fonso Dominique, the most senior colonial government economic official in the Amazonian region, says the war have succeeded in chasing customs and tax officials from almost all crossing points along with neighboring countries like Nigeria. Now, speaking to newsmen, Dominic said that there has been a 90% drop in imports of building materials, drugs, vehicles, electronics, and basic commodities from neighboring countries. This, he says, while civilians have been deprived of very basic supplies, and the state coffers left with huge shortfalls.
Well, real GDP growth slipped to 3.4% in 2022 from 3.6% in 2021. due mostly to continued investment and higher non-oil activity. Inflation rose to 6.2% in 2022 from 2.3% in 2021, above the Central African Economic and Monetary Community, the CEMAC, target of 3%. Now, the increase can be attributed largely to higher import costs. Control of persistent inflation pressures in the CEMAC area also led to tighter monetary policy by the Bank of Central African States. The tender interest rate was raised twice from 3.5% to 4.0% in March 2022 and to 4.5% in September 2022, while Cameroon inflation rate for 2022 was 6.25% and a 3.98% increase from 2021. Now, Cameroon inflation rate from 2021 was 2.27%, a 0.17% decline from 2020.
France, as a non-oil production country, relies on importing oil to meet its energy needs. The price of oil in France is supposed to be influenced by global market strengths and fluctuations. This means that changes in international oil prices can directly impact the cost of oil in France. On the other hand, Cameroon, as an oil production country, has its own reserves and produces oil domestically. Remember the area that produces oil, the Indian part of the Amazonian? Well, the price of oil in the Cameroon should only be influenced by various factors such as production cost, local demands, the global market conditions. But however, being an oil producing country, La Republic du Cameroon should have more control over its oil prices compared to non-oil producing countries like France. But ironically, the Cameroons have experienced more hike in fuel and oil prices as compared to France. Well, report says as of January 1st, 2023, France proved oil reserve total 83 million barrels. You can imagine that. Well, coming up next is African Reports.